you've got two narrators, one good and one evil. So tell me about Fatal and Dr. Impossible.
Fatal is a young woman who had a terrible accident, and they saved her life by replacing part of her body, 43% of her body, with machinery, and that gives her her superpowers. She's a cyborg. Although once she became a cyborg, it didn't necessarily mean that she was a superhero per se, and she's been kind of rattling around on the fringes of the superhero community. But the novel begins for her when she's kind of called up to the major leagues, right, on her first day with the most famous super team in the world, her world sort of equivalent of the Justice League or the Avengers. So her narrative kind of takes us through the inside of the sort of the glamour world of superherodom, and sort of takes her into, you know, the team dynamics, the locker room conversations, a sense of what it's like when you're relaxing with these people before and after the big fight, and what they're like. And then Dr. Impossible is the flip side of the superhero experience, right? He's a supervillain. He's kind of a mid-career supervillain. We meet him when he's in jail, his 12th time. He's sitting in his cell. His sort of thoughts are running, and he's an action character who's been forced to stay in one place for a bit, and he's starting. I mean, Dr. Impossible is kind of a cartoon mad scientist, right? He got his superpowers in an explosion in his laboratory. He wants to take over the world, but as he sits in his cell for the 12th time, he's starting to become aware. He's starting to be let in on the joke about himself. He's starting to become aware that he's a cartoon mad scientist, and start to wonder whether he's actually making the smartest choices he could, given how smart he's supposed to be.
You've got all the. I just went through luxuriating in all the different types of superheroes. The ones who are sort of transplanted aliens, or alien crossbreeds, or children of gods.
Well, right. That's the tension. I wanted to stage the conversation that happens when all those people have to be in a room together. There are two kinds of super teams, right? There are the theme teams like the X-Men, where everybody's a mutant, or the Fantastic Four, where everybody got exposed to cosmic rays. And then there are the eclectic teams, right? Like the Avengers or the Justice League, where everybody comes from a different place, where somebody is the son of some mythological god, and somebody else is an alien, and somebody else is a robot, and they all have to live together. And have rooms next to each other and have meetings together, and that's the kind of team that I wanted to work with. I wanted to have those people have to talk to each other and knock up against each other when they really belong to completely different genres and completely different worlds.
I like Dr. Impossible the best because there's this kind of a separation between what Dr. Impossible thinks inside and he's actually more rational in his interior monologue, and when you're inside his head, and he knows he's made mistakes, but then you sort of get the outside view, and he goes in the office, and he spouts off his plan, and he does all the things that he knows he shouldn't do.
Yeah, I really wanted to write somebody like Lex Luthor, who would talk like that, who would say, "Fools, how could you think to defy me?" And just write about what's actually going on in their mind. And he does do all the supervillain things that you're not supposed to do. He does tell people his plan. He does keep coming back to try to take over the world over and over again, even though he knows the superheroes are going to be onto him, and they're going to fly over and punch him in the stomach, and he's going to go back to jail. He's got to do it again. It's just he's kind of like, you know, Wile E. Coyote, right? He's got to try to catch the Roadrunner. I made a pact with myself that I had to be faithful. I had to be faithful to the genre characters I was writing about. But frankly, it makes a certain amount of psychological sense to me. I mean, Dr. Impossible is as neurotic as any graduate student that I have met, who knows that they're kind of wasting their time, and everybody thinks they're a loser, but they've got to write that dissertation. You know, They've got to keep coming back and doing what they do. They don't really have a choice. And Dr. Impossible doesn't have a choice either, even though he's aware that he's sort of an obsessive supervillain. He's got to do it anyway because it's him. It's what he does.
You know, I want a sequel.
My agent wants a sequel too. And I'm actually working on another book set in the same universe. Actually, I mean, one of my big influences for writing this book was actually Robertson Davies.
Robertson Davies?
Yes, I'm a huge Robertson Davies fan. And the Deathred trilogy was actually one of the big influences for this, especially World of Wonders. You know, where you have like, you know, the famous magician who was this kind of scary sort of Mephistophelian, you know, figure, and then they kind of excavate his whole backstory and showed how he could become that person. I mean, I love World of Wonders so much. That was perhaps more than any other single novel, the novel I was trying to reproduce the effect of when I wrote Soon I Will Be Invincible. But of course, it's part of a trilogy, so now I'm thinking about a trilogy, and I'm thinking about another book with different characters, but set in the same universe that has a relationship to the first book. So I'm actually working on a sequel. And, you know, superhero comics are built on obsession, and I'm obsessed. I can't stop. I have to go back to think about it more. So yes, there is a sequel coming, and hopefully a film.
The book is Soon. You want to say it in a big pompastic way. Soon I will be invincible. Soon I will be invincible. I've been talking with the author Austin Grossman, and Soon I Will Be Invincible, published by Pantheon, distributed in Canada by Random House of Canada.